Welcome everyone to the Better Love Movement podcast, where you will finally learn how to intentionally do dating and relationships right. My name is Anita Stoudemire, and I'm a licensed professional therapist and your personal love mentor. I've worked with thousands of singles and couples, giving them the skills needed to attract and keep the amazing love they desire. It's my heart's work to help people to get the skills needed to not only become the very best versions of themselves, but to help them grow and evolve emotionally and relationally. You can absolutely have the romantic relationship of your dreams. Come and let me show you how. Hello, everyone. This is Anita Stoudemire with the Better Love Movement podcast. And I am back this week after taking a week off after the 100th episode giveaway and special. I needed that week off. And so I am back again this week. And I have a really, really good one for you. I cannot believe I have not talked about this sooner, but we're going to talk about it today. And we are in episode 101. It is entitled, Am I Being Too Picky? Okay, so I got my notes here. I get asked this question a lot. And so that's why I said, you know what? I had like 3 or 4 people send me messages about this very thing. And I said, you know what? That's going to be the next podcast episode because I get asked this a lot, mainly by women, by my female clients, coaching clients, therapy clients, but also by men. Sometimes men will ask me this too. And they say, you know, am I being too picky? You know, I have all these things that I want and need in a woman or in a man. And, you know, people have been telling me forever that I'm just too picky. And I had a client recently tell me she's over 40 and she's like, oh my gosh, I'm really hearing this all the time, especially now that I'm over 40. I am being told that basically I need to settle. I need to just settle because I'm over 40 and I'm a single mother and, you know, it's not going to get much better for me. So we are going to dive into this topic of, am I being too picky? So the first thing I want to tell you all is I want to announce a book that I am completing that you will be able to hopefully pre-order in the next month. I have not fully developed the title of the book. I know it's going to be called 3 Lists. I'm just, you know, trying to figure out what the subtitle is going to be, but I have finally decided to take the tool that I created, the self-discovery relationship tool, and turn it into a little handbook. So this is not a super long, wordy read. It is not that. It is just a little book that you can order off of Amazon or directly from my website. And it is going to guide you in choosing the best possible partner for you. That's what this book does. So everyone who has been following me or knows me, they know that I subscribe to a little formula. I have a little formula in how to have healthy, happy, long-term relationships or marriages. And it's super simple. And people are always saying, no, it can't be that easy. That's too simple, Anita. There has to be more to it than that. You're making it sound so easy. But it is. It is. That's what I'm all about. Everyone who knows me knows I'm about common sense. Just use your basic common sense, okay? Things are simple and keep them that way and have a system. You know, everybody knows that's what I believe in. It's really not that complicated. But the formula is this. When you choose well and you do well, so you're going to choose the right partner for you, the best fit for you. And then once you're in that relationship, you're going to do well. You're going to be the best version of yourself. You're going to be kind and faithful and loyal and communicative. Like you're going to do your best. When you put those 2 things together, the magic happens. It really is that simple. A lot of people screw up on the first part. I know I did. I did not choose a person who was the best fit for me. I did not choose well. And although on the back end, I tried to do well, here's the thing. You cannot outdo a poor choice. Like, that's just not going to happen. Once you choose someone who is not the best fit for you, it really doesn't matter what you do. The relationship's only going to go so far. You're going to eventually, stall, fall out of love, or whatever, is going to stall. So you've got to choose well. And that's what this little handbook is going to help you do. It's going to deliver a system to you, because I do believe in systems. I do believe in research. I do believe in the science and the facts of dating and relationships. And I know that's not sexy. I know that's not romantic, but the truth is it works. It works. And so you're going to use this little handbook. And for all my folks who are single, so this is not for folks who are already in relationships, unless you're looking to get out of your relationship. This is for my folks who are single. You're going to use this to create your ideal partner and relationship. And this is going to be your blueprint moving forward in choosing the best person for you. So if you are using the 3 lists, and I'm going to dive deeper into that in the little handbook that's going to be coming out in January, you will have your wants, you will have your don't wants, and you will have your needs list. So you'll have 3 lists, okay? When you're writing down the things that you want and even the things that you need, here's one of the ways of determining, are you being too picky? So are you able to provide what it is you want and need? That's an easy way to determine if what you're asking for may be a little bit too much. You're being too picky. So if I say, I want a partner who is employed, I want a partner who is passionate about their work. They have some semblance of success in their work. They enjoy what they do. I want a partner who's happy for the most part. I want a partner who has passions and interests that they love pursuing. I want a partner who's family oriented. I can provide all of those things. That is basically who I am. That is basically me. So yes, that would make sense. Like, I'm not going to ask for, I want a 7-figure, 8-figure earner. Okay, well, I am not. And, I'm definitely being hypergamous. I'm being hypergamous and reaching for that. And there's nothing wrong with that. But at the same time, I want you to understand, and we're going to talk about this a little further in this episode, what happens when your list grows so long of all the specific things that you want and need. The longer that list is, the shorter your dating pool gets. And if you can handle that reality, that's just a statistical reality, then fine. You can put whatever you want on that wants and needs list. But you need to understand the pool is shrinking as that list is growing. Okay, but we're going to dive deeper into that. So can you provide what you want to the other person? That's one of the questions I want you to ask yourself. Are you being a hypocrite? So let's say there's some women out here, I know several, who will say, yeah, I have 2 kids, but I don't want a man with kids. Really? That's a big ask. And I'm not saying you can't ask. I'm not saying you can't put it on the wants or needs list. However, I want you to understand that person, let's say what if they have on their wants or needs list, I don't have kids and I don't want a woman that has kids. And yes, they have every right to say that. I know women who also don't have kids and will say, I don't want a man with kids. Okay, I get it. I was in that same position. I turned 30 years old. I was college educated. I was living it up in Atlanta, having a great life, and I didn't have any children. And I put that on my want and need list, that I didn't want a man who had any children. And that's exactly what I got. So, ladies, if you're out there and you don't have any children and you don't want a man who has children, okay, I want you to put that on your wants and needs list. It is very probable that you may come across a man who has not had any children. I know some men my age, 52, who don't have any children. So I'm not interested in them. I prefer a man who has children because I have children. I prefer a man who's been married because I've been married. We have very similar life paths. We've made very similar choices with our life, which would speak to what we value. So remember, and we're going to talk about this a little bit later, values is the core of your compatibility. You all must share similar values. So that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking at a man's character and I'm looking at his values. That's really, really important when we're choosing a partner. And the book is going to dive into that. Okay. So you want to make sure you're not being a hypocrite. Here's another one, and I'm going to step on some toes, but I got to do it. If you are a woman who is 220 pounds and you want a man who is a gym rat, you want a man who is a fitness instructor, you want a man with six-pack abs and the pecs and the arms, that probably is not going to happen for you. And I have had women push back. I've had women push back on this. Well, there are plenty of guys who love working out and they love bigger women. Okay. All right. You know, I mean, I don't even know what to say to that. That to me is incredibly obvious. It's incredibly obvious that a person who likes to stay fit and who eats healthy and who takes care of their physical body, why would they want someone who is not? Like, that doesn't make any sense. Okay. I am a gym rat. I work out 5 days a week. I take great care of myself, even though I'm working on my diet right now. And I do not want a man who is overweight. I do not want a hefty man, point blank, period. I'm not interested. And to me, it goes against what I value. What I value is physical fitness and health, no matter the age. I am above 50 and I am obsessed with staying healthy and fit and lean and strong, you know, and I encourage all of my women to do that. Like, it is never too late. I don't care what your age is. I don't care what's going on in your life. I want you to make that a priority, because when you do, you're going to feel amazing. And when you feel amazing, you're going to attract, some amazing men. So that's why I encourage people to do it, men and women. But no, I don't think that's a thing. I don't think that's likely that a man who is super fit is going to want someone who is overweight or obese. That's probably not a thing. And so, yeah, if that's something, if you're 200 pounds and you're 5'5", and you're saying, yeah, I want a guy who has six-pack abs and am I being picky? I think you are being a hypocrite. That's what I think. I digress. Okay. Let's talk a little bit about this concept of being equally yoked. So I also get this a lot from my listeners who are Christians, who are people of faith, and they really want to understand what it means to be equally yoked. What does that really mean? Okay, so here's what I honestly believe after doing some biblical study on this, that I believe God's design was when he said equally yoked. We know, based on what the Bible tells us, that he wanted believers to marry other believers. So that's a big part of being equally yoked, is that we both believe in the same thing. We both serve the same God. That's primarily what God meant. But even deeper than that, I honestly believe God meant, are the two of you going to come in agreement about the marriage or relationship that you're going to have? And are you going to follow my design for it? Meaning God's design. Okay, that's what I believe equally yoked means. So I'm going to go way out in left field here for a second. If I were to meet a man who was an electrician, or he ran his own electrician business, right? And he went directly into doing that. He learned a trade and he's very passionate about that and loves what he does and makes relatively good money. But he is a staunch believer. He is a masculine energy man. He is kind. I find him attractive, and, our values align. And he has assured me that he wants to have the marriage that God ordained for us, right? He wants to serve and just be the husband that God ordained him to be. I would snatch him up so fast, so fast. That's the truth. That's the truth. So it's not always about 7 and 8 figure earners. It's not always about, he's got to be, have 2 or 3 degrees like me, or, it's not always about that. But if he works hard, if he owns a home, if he, has a car, if he has the basics in life, but he's not like balling or flossing out of control, no, that to me is what equally yoked is. If that man is saying to me, I want to have a marriage the way God ordained it. I want to treat you as my divine feminine. I want to be your divine masculine. I live to serve you. I live to see you smile. I live to make you happy. That's my husband. That's my husband. So some of you all need to grow to that place. You need to grow to that place where it's not just about him, having 3 or 4 degrees or being in a specific in a specific career. You got to grow to that, especially if you're a believer. You've got to grow to that. Now, you've got all these influencers out here. You've got all these YouTubers. You've got all these, Instagram influencers or what have you. And they are trying to make you believe that your happiness lies in money. Your happiness lies in what the man does, that he has some sort of high post career or something. Your happiness lies in Birkin bags. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. But hey, I may not be talking to the right people. But honestly, for me, my happiness don't lie in stuff. My happiness lies in a man who is living God's way and his truth. A man who has signed on to have the relationship, the marriage that God ordained. A man who is in his healthy masculine role. That's my husband. So he could make 7 or 8 figures. He could own his own business. He could be an electrician or a plumber or, okay. Like I said, I've grown past that. I realize now I was married to someone who made a whole lot of money, still does, and bought me a whole lot of things and caused me a whole lot of heartache. So I'm not interested in that. And it's not to say I cannot fall madly in love with a very wealthy guy. I would love that. But I've also grown to the place where I know already that my happiness is not in stuff. My happiness is not in money. My happiness is not in what he does for a living or any of that. My happiness lies in him committing to do it God's way. Him committing to have the marriage that God ordained for us to have. Him committing to be a healthy masculine man, to be loving, to be kind, to be an animal lover, preferably, to love family, and to be generous. Ooh, there's a lot of wealthy men out here that are stingy. I've dated a few of them. So don't believe the hype. Please don't believe the hype. There's so much trash narrative going on around here. It's ridiculous. But people are believing it. People are believing it, and they're throwing out the idea of love as a construct. Like, I'm not interested in love. I'm just interested in a guy making a whole lot of money and buying me a whole lot of stuff. And forget it. I've tried that. It didn't work out. Now, what they're not telling you is that they chose someone who wasn't good for them. They're not telling you about their part in it, their bad choice of the person they chose. See, I can own it. I chose the absolute wrong person for me. I was in a rush. I was under the timeline of, I got to have kids. I got to get married by a certain age. I can own that. There is nothing wrong with marriage. There's nothing wrong with love. Love is still out there. It's still waiting on you. But you've got to have a system. You've got to have a way of going about this thing to have a good, healthy outcome. That is the difference. That's what people are not telling you. The men are saying the women are trash. They can't be loyal. They won't be faithful, and, I'm not getting married. Marriage doesn't serve a man. No. The research doesn't support that. The research shows that a man will make 2 and 3 times more money when he's married, that the man will live longer, will be healthier when he's married. So no. Please stop. Stop it. Make it make sense. Check out the research that shows that marriage is actually better for men than it is for women. So no. But we also have research that shows when the relationship is happy and healthy, women live longer, they're more fulfilled, men are happier, those couples have more sex. all kinds of great research. I'll have to bring that. I don't know why I didn't, but anyway, I'm getting off topic here. So God's design, when he said equally yoked, people get this confused because they think that he and I should be totally aligned. Everything should be aligned. And no. And even in terms of faith, like one of you is not going to be as strong in their faith as the other. So it's not even like that. What God wants to know is this person willing to do it his way? If he's willing to have the marriage that God ordained, not me, not you, not any other marriage counselor out there, God. So that means looking in your Bible and literally reading all the scriptures that pertain to marriage and doing that, doing it his way. So the first step is you abstain. Is the man willing to abstain from having sex until you all are married? That would be the first step for me. Are we aligned in terms of those values? And if not, okay, I guess we're not. We're not on the same page. But the healthy marriage is what I'm after. And now I'm willing to abstain to have it. Because I need to know if the man, for me, is also on that path. Like he's looking for the real deal. He's not looking to just connect physically and have all this sexual chemistry. That's not going to last. So he wants to know, God wants to know, are you both willing to do it his way? So this for the woman looks like submitting to her husband as the husband submits to Christ, to God, to Christ, to the husband, to the wife, right? So not only is the wife going to submit to the husband's going to submit to Christ. He's going to do things a certain way. But this is what this idea is, that you all will both agree to have a relationship using God's plan. That's really what equally yoked is. So you all are both believers and you both subscribe to what is in the Bible for your marriage. Okay? So I'm glad we cleared all that up. Okay. Every one of us will settle. So I'm reading from my notes. Every one of us will settle. And here's what I don't want you to settle on. I don't want you to settle on your don't wants. I don't want you to have what you say you don't want. But as far as what you want and what you need, no one's going to get all of that. I've said this so many times. You're not going to get everything on your need list, and you're not going to get everything on your want list. The good news is our partner can meet a good amount of our needs. They're not going to meet all of our needs. I have needs like thrifting. I don't expect a man, a grown, healthy, masculine man, to go out with me every weekend thrifting, right? It ain't, probably fun to him. Sometimes it's not fun to me, but I get so obsessed with, trying to find all these unique things and going through boxes of stuff and flipping through hangers of stuff or whatever. I just get so obsessed with it. But most men would probably not think that's a good time. There are other hobbies that I have that, again, most men are not going to want to do. But there will be some things, right, that he may say, yeah, I'll go out there with you and do that. Or, I like bike riding, or I like hiking, or, I'd be willing to go to the grocery store with you. I would love that. But he's not there to meet all of my needs. And yes, your partner, your husband or wife should meet some of your needs, but they won't meet 100% of your needs. That's why God created your parents and your brothers, your sisters, your children, your pets and your friends and all these other people, right? It's not just about this one person. That's when things start to get really enmeshed, really unhealthy. When you think that every living, breathing, waking moment I have, my partner has to meet my needs or make me happy or whatever. We're getting into a dark territory when we do that. So no, we're not going to get 100% of our needs. We'll get even less of what we want. So that want list that I want you to make, that's really fun, that like gets you all hype and excited, that really revs up all the desires you have, you may not even get 20 or 30% of it. Like you're not going to get most of the things you want. So, but the list, the don't want list, that's the list I don't want you to settle on. Like if you were like me, I was 29, about to turn 30. And it was even before that. I think I was like 25. I put that on my don't want list at 25. I did not want a man who had children. And I did not date any men who had children. Like, I was like, nope, that's a firm I don't want. Okay. And so when I found out about that, I was like, this is not the person for me. No, thank you. And I would pass. I never once was like, well, maybe no. I had been through that one time. I think I was 21 or 22. I dated a man, seriously, who had a daughter, and we lived together, and his daughter stayed with us. And then her mother came back and took the baby back, and I was heartbroken. And I was like, nope, I will never do this again. I will never date another man with a child. And I never did. So the key to some of these don't wants, let me tell you, is you. Like, it's y'all. It's y'all accepting what it is you say you don't want. So just know that when you get this handbook in January, when you read through it, when you start creating those 3 lists, it's you. The only thing standing in your way of having the relationship that you want, having the best fit person for you, is you. It's you. You have to have a system. And the 3 lists is a part of that system. And when you put things on the don't want list, you need to stick to that. You don't make exceptions, because at some point you put on here, you didn't want it, right? That's what was so interesting about that one don't want on my list. I was like, rock solid, I don't want that. And look at what happened. That is not what I got. Exactly what, I did not get that. And so, no, I don't believe that is being too picky. But you have to have faith in that. You have to say, I'm putting it on this don't want list, and I'm not going to bend on this. I'm not going to compromise on this. I don't want it. If I don't want a man who's unemployed, if I don't want a man who smokes, I've never dated, I think I dated one smoker when I was younger in college because I didn't know any better. And then right after that, I put non-smoker. I don't want a man who smokes on the don't want list. Never dated another smoker. That's how effective this is if you can stick to it and actually use it as your blueprint moving forward. If you don't want a man who smokes, if you don't want a man who has a child and you don't have a child, if you don't want a man who drinks alcohol, if you don't want a man who, I don't know what else, is overweight or out of shape or whatever, when you put it on that list, you must have faith, because the truth is that man exists. That man exists. Your don't wants list is a testament to your faith. Those men exist. There are men, I've dated them, who do not smoke, who do not drink, who do not have children, okay? And not only do they not have multiple children, they don't have any children. It exists, all right? Who are employed, who are not addicted to anything, who don't watch porn. I mean, I got a lot of things on my don't want list. There are men out there that don't have any of that. But this list is a testament to your faith. You're going to see what your faith is like when you make this list, and then you go out into the real world and start dating. And when you have to turn down smokers, porn watchers, men who have children, men who are out of shape or overweight, you are saying, I want you to believe this. You're saying, I have faith. I believe that what I want exists. And it's out there. And it's out there for me. That's a big ask, but I believe it's possible because I've lived it. I wouldn't be telling you this if I hadn't lived it. I lived everybody was telling me. When I was 29, I was about to turn 30. And I had this huge 30th birthday party. All my friends came. I lived in Atlanta. A lot of my exes came. And let's go even further. I was dating like 3 or 4 men at the time, just dating, not sleeping with. Don't let your little dirty mind go there. But I was dating like 3 or 4 men at the time, and I had like 3 or 4 exes. All these men came to my birthday party, along with all my friends in my room, everybody. Everybody's at the 30th birthday party. And I remember at that party, I just stood up and I announced to everyone that I was going to get married soon. that I was done with dating. I was off the hamster wheel of dating, and that, I was going to be married soon. So I was pretty much like, yeah, so any of the, guys that are interested in me, if you're not interested in getting married, don't call me anymore. That's basically what I said. I told everybody in there that I was dating, yeah, don't call me anymore. If you're not interested in getting married in the next year or so, don't call me anymore. And they all thought it was hilarious. And then I had some girlfriends that were like, oh, and you want a man that doesn't have any children? That's unlikely that you're going to find a man at 30 that doesn't have any children. That's unlikely. Okay. This is a testament to your faith, though. But that's what I said. And later that month, I wound up meeting the man who would become my husband. And that summer, he proposed. And I accepted. We got engaged. And then we, later that summer, moved out of Atlanta to Ohio, and we moved in together. And the following year, we got married. So, and I'm telling you that not because we rode off into the sunset and everything was perfect, because it wasn't. I'm telling you that as a testament to faith, that yes, what you want exists. It's out there. And I want you to believe that. It's a big ask. Like, I know I'm asking you for something huge. And I'm still asking you. I'm asking you to believe that it exists and it's out there for you. So when you're creating these lists, when you get this book in January, because it's going to go over in great detail about these lists and my formula for the happy, healthy, long-term marriage or relationship, this don't want list. I want you to white knuckle it. I want you to hold on to it and white knuckle it like I'm sticking to this. I will not settle. I will not settle on this list. I am white knuckling this list no matter what. The finest man on earth can sit down. If he smokes cigarettes, we done. Like, that's the type of faith I want you to have. That's the type of faith you're going to need to have to make this thing happen. And let me tell you, ladies, it has happened. I have met some very wealthy men. I have met some very handsome men, fit men, men who look amazing on paper. I mean, I've met some men that look amazing on paper. But if there was something misaligned in our values, or it could be the weirdest thing. I was like, you know what? I would not be happy. I would not be happy in this. And it wasn't petty things. It was really like values things, or it was a total and complete lack of attraction. Yeah. And that's just it. But I have faith. I have faith. No one is going to tell me at my age that I should not want what I want or don't want, oh, that's silly. And, oh, you're over the hill. I can't believe it. No, nobody's going to tell me that. I'm not listening to that. And I don't want you all to listen to it either. Keep this in mind. I don't look at or listen to a whole lot of influencers. One, because I just don't have time. Two, because I don't want their noise in my head. There are very few influencers that I align with and I listen to. But there's a lot of the noise out there, a lot of negative noise. And it makes me sad when women reach out to me and they listen to influencers and say, oh, if you're over 35 and if you have any children or this or that, you can hang it up. You can forget about it. You just need to just go off into the sunset by yourself. You're not going to find anybody. Stop listening to that. There is nothing faith-filled about that. Stop listening to that. Stop feeding your mind with that garbage. Because that's not going to get you what you want. I can assure you of that. Okay, so we're to the part where I have to get really clinical and I have to bring in some statistics. I have to get statistical with you, but this is what it is. This is a part of it. But remember, we're still faith-filled. So this is a part of are you too picky? Okay. I want you to understand this. Statistically, in the world we live in, and maybe in your city, in your state, in your country, wherever you're listening to this to, I want you to keep in mind, remember what I said, the longer that want and need list is, or even the don't want list, the longer those lists grow, the shorter your pool of eligible men will get. And that's just statistically a fact. Okay. There are only so many men in the world over 6 feet tall, over 6'2", over 6'4". So the taller he gets, the smaller the pool gets. Okay. There are only so many 7 and 8 figure earners. That's just a fact. I still want you to be filled with faith. If that's something you honestly feel like you really have to be happy. I know you don't, but okay. But if you think you do, here's what I need you to understand. Statistically, the pool of eligible men gets smaller. And so what that means for you is you got to be especially faith-filled. You have got to be patient. You've got to be patient. You've got to be willing to wait and get out there and mix and mingle, or get online, or get in your DMs, or wherever it is you meet people. Like it's kind of a numbers thing at this point. You've got to meet people. You've got to start qualifying and vetting men every day, like every single day, because you're trying to get through this pool of eligible men, and you're looking for that connection. You're looking for that compatibility, that chemistry. So, but just know the pool is getting smaller. That's just a statistical fact. Okay. I often tell people, yes, you could be the exception and not the rule. I don't speak to the exception. I speak to the rule. That's why I've developed a system. I have a system for dating. And a lot of people don't like this. They want to believe that, oh, it shouldn't take all that. Oh, I should just be able to go out there, be myself, do what it is I do, and things should fall into place. And then my question to that is, so how's that working out? Like, how's that working for you? Are you in a happy, healthy, fulfilled relationship? Are you married? Have you been married for like 25 years, 30 years, 50 years? Okay, if the answer is no to any of that, perhaps what you're doing, it doesn't work well, right? And at some point, we have got to be honest with ourselves. Like, what we're doing isn't working. I can honestly say that. What I did for 25, 30 years, it did not work. It did not work. I did not have a system. And even when I started to put together some semblance of a system, you know what I would do? I would self-sabotage. I wouldn't stick to it. I was like, well, maybe this is different. Maybe I'm the exception and not the rule. No, I'm not that special. And dare I say it, most of us are not, right? Here's one of my rules now. Here's one of my rules that's a part of my system. So I tell women, it is unlikely, highly unlikely, that you will meet a man, you will go out on a date. That first date, you will have amazing chemistry. You'll have the most amazing time, the most amazing conversation. And if you have sex with him, it is highly unlikely that that man will not become your husband. Highly unlikely. So people push that envelope all the time. All the time. They go against that all the time. Well, we had amazing chemistry. We talked for 5 hours. And, it was like nothing I'd ever experienced. And this is okay. And they go home with that man, or take that man home with them. They have sex. Oh, it's so amazing. Oh, I've never connected like this with anybody else. A year later. Yeah, he pulled away, and then he started saying this, and then he disappeared, and then I got ghosted, and then he came back. Stop it. Stop it. Just stop it. Like, have a system in place that says, I don't do that. Ever. Ever. I don't care how amazing he is. I don't care how aligned we are. I don't care how our values line up. I don't care what he says. I don't care what he does. I don't go home and sleep with anybody on the first date of meeting them. Period. See? Really easy. Really simple, but it's a part of a system that says, these are the things I just don't do. These are the things I'm not going to do. So following some sort of system or program that you set up for yourself. And here's the thing. You can customize that program based on who you are, your lifestyle, and all of that. There are some rules, or there are some systems that I put in place with my clients that there are certain things, I don't care who it is. I just say, don't do it. Because we err on the side of caution over here. Like, my main job is to keep you from heartbreak. That's my main job, is to keep you safe. Okay? I want you to find love. I want you to be married. I want you to have your children. I want you to be deeply in love with your husband for many, many years. But my number one priority is to keep your heart intact, is to keep you safe. And so that's why we're setting up these guidelines or boundaries or whatever you want to call it. I call it a system, and you're going to follow it to the letter. You're going to follow it. And I believe you're going to have greater success when you do. And you're not going to share this with the man, okay? So don't even go there. You're not going to say, oh, I have a little system. Don't do that. That's called none of his business. So you done already broke one of the rules of the system, which is you don't need to tell him everything about everything, okay? Be a woman of mystery. You don't need to tell him that. And there's no little speech you have to give after that first date. If he's driving you home or you're leaving and he wants you to come over, no, oh no, thank you so much. I've had a wonderful evening, and I wouldn't feel comfortable doing that. That's it. You don't need to go all off into the weeds about, oh, I got this system, or I got this little 3-month rule or 6-month rule. You don't need to do that. That's called none of his business. The bottom line is, I don't sleep with strangers. And this is what you're saying in your head. You're not saying it to him. In your head, I don't care how sexy he is. I don't care how good the conversation was. I don't care what y'all talked about. I don't care about any of that. He's a stranger. He's a stranger. And I don't have sex with strangers. Not with a condom. Not at his place. At a hotel. I don't have sex with strangers. That's one of the rules of my system. And he's a stranger. If you talked on the phone for 2 weeks and then y'all went out on a date, he's a stranger. If you haven't known him for at least 12 months, he's a stranger. He's a stranger. You don't know him. You don't really know a person until 12 months has passed. And this is, of course, with regular communication and regular dates and regular getting to know, okay? But that's one of my hard and fast rules. Do not sleep with strangers. It's really simple. But anyway. So that is my answer to the question. Am I being too picky? And I know I went a lot of different places here in this episode, but I had to pull from a lot of different things. And I had to tell you about the book that will be out in January. January is my birth month, so I'm really excited about this book. It's called 3 Lists, and I am waiting to get the second part of that title. I'm hoping in the next 2 weeks I will have it down so that I can start, marketing it and getting pre-orders for it. Just a small little handbook, nothing serious. It's not a huge, 200 or 300 page read. It is a quick and easy read. But more than anything, it is a handbook or a guidebook. It is a system that I will be building on. So that's the first part. It's all about choosing well. That's the first part to this system. Choose well. And then I'm going to follow it up probably in the next few months with the do well part of this system. So what things are you going to do once you have this great person for you? Once you have the best fit for you, now what? What do you do in this relationship to keep it healthy and strong and happy? So we're going to have a part 2. We're going to follow it up with a part 2 of this formula, which is doing well. And I got to figure out the title for that book too. So thank you so much for listening today. I appreciate you all. I can't believe we're in episode 101. It's amazing. We're winding down this year very, very shortly. This week is the week of Thanksgiving. So I just want to wish each and every one of my listeners a happy Thanksgiving. There are so many wonderful things to be thankful for this year. I know this has been a really hard year for a lot of us, but you know what? I want you to always remember, when you are on this side of the ground, it's still an amazing year. It's still an amazing life. Every day that I'm on this side of the dirt, I am grateful for. I am thankful for. Even when it's difficult, even when some crazy stuff is happening, I still every morning just wake up and say, thank you, God. Thank you for another day. I get to try again. I get to, I get another shot at this thing called life. And I'm just so, so thankful. So I thank you so much for listening to this episode this week. And as always, stay open to love. Thank you for listening to today's podcast episode. If you are enjoying this podcast, please leave me a 5-star rating and review. Your ratings and reviews help me to continue to bring you more great content. Head on over to YouTube and check out the Better Love Movement channel. There's more video content there, and you can subscribe to be notified when a new video is posted. If you have a question that you would like to have answered on the podcast or in a YouTube video, please send it to me at info@betterlovemovement.com. You can also connect with me directly on the Magnify app to have your dating and relationship questions answered. That's MAGNIFI, and it's available on iOS and Android. You get your first 5 minutes for free. So give me a call and let's chat.